Well, good evening, everyone. Another beautiful day here in Michigan. Leaves are turning more and more. We're probably at 5% color. Cigar almost went out. I'm smoking a Espada, Monte Cristo Espada. It was actually quite a long one. It was about to right here, so one of those big ones. Thought I'd make a quick video. Employ the wandering part of my channel, W-O-N-D-E-R. An idea hit me that I thought was rather interesting. Of course, as we know, if you're on Facebook, Facebook has an algorithm that feeds stories to you, depending on what you click on. But I think it also feeds stories that it thinks you may like. And I'm not sure how I got on this one, but the last week, I've gotten a lot of stories about alternative history and unique aspects of history. Antarctica, what's happening there, a lot of conspiracy theories that are going on. But there's one that's about time machines. And it's about a group of people that they published a video that was talking about how they had a time machine. Now, I've always subscribed to the idea of time being linear. That's at least is my experience. Can't go back in the past because time is a line in which we go down. I know there's a lot of different theories as to how to understand time. Time is a mystery in of itself. In relationship to gravity, there's a whole area called scalar physics that talks about gravity and how that relates to physics and what we've missed over the last 100 years. Some people have said that we are 100 years behind in the technology because this one aspect of physics, 100 years ago, they stopped studying. If you look up Introduction to Scalar Physics on YouTube, you'll find a great introduction. There's not many, I've only seen one. But anyways, this idea of time and gravity relates to time travel. My cigar is about to go out. And the time travel, the people that were talking about time travel were saying, well, they had perfected it and we've come back in time. And of course, that was just a big red flag to me. I thought, I don't see how that's going to work. I mean, you come back to a time that you weren't born in. There's a lot of interesting things about time travel, but they were saying the way that time travel works is that you have to be in the same location. When you go back in time, the time machine itself is in a geographic fixed location, so it doesn't move in space, it just moves in time. So they had to wait they were talking about the same time of day, but also the same time of year, because you had to be back in the same, because our Earth is revolving. Our Earth revolves from west to east as it's going this direction, which makes the sun go from east to west. As it's turning, the sun looks like it's going around us. But we're rotating at 1,000 miles an hour, or orbiting, not orbiting, we're revolving. Revolving or rotating? No, we're rotating, yeah. It's the rotation. I always get those backwards. We're rotating at 1,000 miles an hour, but we're going around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour to make a 1-year pass. And they were saying, well, you had to go around the sun and come back so that we were in the same geographic position for it to work. And I thought, well, right there, you just made a giant scientific mistake, it seems like, because as you're rotating around, we're on a wobble, but you're going around the sun, and who knows that you're exactly right in the right place, because this is the reason we're always 15 minutes off. That's why we have to have or not 15, but a quarter of a day off every year. So we're never right in the same place. We're at least a few seconds off, which is why we have to have a leap year. They were talking about going around. I said, if you could go all the way around and you somehow come back, which would be just there's no way to know exactly where you are in space. I said, for that to work, I said, but there's an aspect of our reality of our solar system that makes this completely impossible, because not only are we turning, not only are we orbiting at the same time that we're turning, but we're flying through space in a helix type of orbit, because the sun is moving supposedly at 500,000 miles an hour. The entire universe is expanding. So we're flying through space as we're orbiting and as we're spinning. So when I started this video, in space, we've actually moved 2 million miles, or not 2 million miles, 500,000 miles per hour. So, over the last 5 minutes or something, we've moved at least several thousand miles in space, and that's not just going around. So you're never in the same geographic location, supposedly, as that time machine would be, because you'd have to take in all of space. Did I have that go out? Oh my goodness, that's a wasted cigar. I have to light it again. But I thought, well, right there, that's a problem. But I've also got a lot of videos that kind of akin to some of the conspiracy, and all it does with flat Earth. I don't know how I got on that mailing list, but interesting statements of what people have made about, the whole, how we're moving through space. And if you're moving through space over several thousand years, you would think the constellations would change. I know most physicists would say, well, the reason for that is they are so far away that even over 1,000 years, moving at 500,000 miles an hour, you still wouldn't have a change in the scenery, because we're so far away that those stars would still appear to be fixed. I know there's some different debates on that, but looking at the flat Earth, are the two things that they have going for them. Now, I'm not endorsing flat Earth, by the way. I'm just looking at all this. It's just kind of interesting. It's kind of like pizza videos. Just sit and watch videos and eat and drink Coke and, kind of be entertained for a while. But that idea of our Earth, I've often thought, we're supposed to live in a void, the void of space, a vacuum. Anytime you find a hole that's in a ship that's, orbiting the Earth, if you get a hole in that, everything gets sucked out, because the void of space sucks everything out. And the question is, why does our atmosphere stay intact? If we're moving through space and we're rotating and we're revolving and all these things are going on, I mean, there's no wind, but the void of space would suck all the air right off this planet. I don't know, the argument against that would be as well, the gravity holds it in, but we really don't understand what gravity is. You look at physics and it's like they'll say we have a gravitational constant, we use it in math, we don't really understand what it is necessarily. And I have a hard time thinking that the light atoms that make up our atmosphere are somehow held together by this planet in the midst of a void, because that would just like the moon, you'd suck everything away. So it's interesting, I mean, how that works out. This is one of those wanderings that I don't really have an answer for, because I don't know if we really can know exactly what's happening. It's an enigma. It's like, where do you go with some of this stuff? And I'm not really into the conspiracy theories. I like listening to them. That is not going to light again. That is unfortunate, because that is a $17 cigar. It's disappointing. Anyways, thought I would just share that with you. It's interesting, the things that I get on Facebook that come through, and I don't know how I got a hold of those, but you look at science. I've seen a lot of people that say, well, I just trust science. And I think, well, I trust science too. There's a lot of good stuff with medical. I don't trust all the medical that goes on. But, with science, it's like, science has changed over the years. People say that theology has changed. Theology has somewhat changed, yes. But science has made some huge changes in how we understand the Aristotelian versus Copernican models. And, there's new things that are always coming up. People talk about parallel universes in science. I'm like, how would you ever know that there's a parallel universe or that there's infinite parallel universes? We can't even understand or look at the limits of our own universe. So how do you say that there are multiple universes? That's just theory. That's a neat theory. Seemed like it fits more with, was also the Marvel series. I love those movies. I love how they put them all together. That was kind of interesting. But some of the scientific things that we believe, it's like, do we really know that to be true? Is it a theory? There's a lot of stuff that's based on faith that is supposedly scientific. We really can't observe it. I mean, the whole idea of science is you can reduplicate something. You can see it right there before you, the scientific method. But we talk about some things and it's like, we don't have any real evidence for those. But how our atmosphere stays, that's always been a unique one for me. And then time travel. It's like, I don't think that really can work, because what I'm hearing from people have time machines, supposedly have time machines from the future, I don't see how that would work either. That doesn't seem to make logical sense. But there's a lot of odd things that go on in this world. Anyways, just wanted to say hi. Trying to keep up my record of having a video every now and then. This one's already gone almost 12 minutes, so I'm not going to keep it too long. It's time for me to go to the gym anyways. So we'll talk to you soon and see you later.